Hello everyone, today I'll continue sharing with you the love story of CEO Alex and the single mother Tuna. After countless nights sitting alone on the porch, gazing at the moon and heaving heavy sighs, Tuna finally found an answer in her heart. That morning, as the sunlight pierced through the longan leaves and lit up the yard, she sat quietly beside Grandma Tang. Her face looked weary, but in her eyes flickered a spark of determination. Her little child toddled clumsily around the yard, tiny hands brushing against dew-drenched grass. The baby couldn't yet speak, only babbling innocent sounds. But the sound of her child's giggles soothed Tuna's heart. She knew that every decision she made was not only for herself but also for her child's future. She gently held Grandma Tang's frail hand and, with a trembling voice, whispered, "Grandma, I've thought about it for a long time. I'm grateful for everything you've done for me and my child, giving us shelter in our hardest days. But I can't keep running away forever. Alex, he searched for me tirelessly, through every hardship. I want to give myself, and this child, a chance. I will go back to the farm with him." Grandma Tang remained silent for a moment, gazing deep into the tearful eyes of the young woman. In her own eyes, kindness mingled with sorrow. With a sigh, she slowly nodded. "Nah, I've grown old, and I know people when I see them. A man who's willing to search for you everywhere, to bow his head and apologize in place of others, such a man cannot be small-hearted. I love you as my own granddaughter, but I want you to have true happiness. If you've chosen, then hold firm and walk your path." Hearing those words, tears streamed down Tuna's cheeks. She threw herself into Grandma's arms, sobbing like a child. "Without you, I'd have no place to stand. I will forever be indebted to you." That afternoon, Alex was sitting anxiously at the farm when his phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. He hesitated, but the moment he answered, a trembling yet resolute voice filled his ears. "Alex, my child and I will come back to the farm with you." For a second, Alex froze, his whole body stunned. Then, like a surge of lightning, his heart exploded with joy. The glass in his hand fell and shattered, but he didn't care. He dashed to his car with nothing but urgency and overwhelming happiness. Less than an hour later, Alex reached the dirt road leading to the old house. There, at the gate, stood Tuna, holding tightly to her child's tiny hand. Alex could barely contain himself. He rushed forward and wrapped her in his arms, his voice breaking, trembling. Thank you for trusting me one more time. I swear, I'll never let you regret this." Tuna leaned silently against his chest, listening to his heartbeat pounding as if ready to burst. The fear in her heart remained, but the strength in his embrace told her it was time to stop running. The baby looked at them with wide eyes, waving tiny hands in the air, babbling nonsense, but that innocent smile swept all worries away. Grandma Tang stood at the porch, eyes glistening with tears but smiling warmly. The sunset painted the sky crimson, casting its light over three silhouettes, a man, a woman, and a child, like a promise of a new beginning. The road back to the farm had opened, and this time, Tuna knew she would not be alone. On their first day back at the farm, Tuna carried her baby into the house. To Alex it was home, but to her it was unfamiliar. The wooden room, the weathered tiles, the scent of earth and dry grass filled the air. She hesitated at the doorway, clutching her clothes nervously. But Alex stepped forward, gently placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "This will be your new home. From now on, you won't have to wander anymore." The baby babbled a few sounds, wide eyes roaming curiously, then burst into laughter at the sight of the farm dog bounding toward them. That pure laughter lightened Tuna's heart. By noon, Alex was bustling in the kitchen. He had never cooked for anyone but himself, yet here he was clumsily lighting the stove, washing rice, chopping vegetables. Tuna couldn't help but stare at the tall man, his strong hands, more accustomed to hard labor, now fumbling with carrots, making a mess of the cutting board. She let out a small laugh, the first after many heavy days. "Let me do it." But Alex shook his head, his eyes firm yet gentle. "Just rest. Watch the baby. Today, let me cook, it's my way of welcoming you both home." The child crawled around on a blanket, clapping hands and laughing at the sight of Alex fumbling in the kitchen. Tuna watched him, her heart warming. For the first time in so long, she felt what she had yearned for, a true family. The meal was simple, vegetable soup, fried eggs, braised pork, but to Tuna, it was the warmest table she had known in years. Alex placed food on her plate, his eyes shining with joy. "I know it's not perfect, but I hope you won't mind. I just want you to never have to eat alone again." Tuna looked at him, emotion swelling in her chest. She nodded softly, her voice light as a breeze. "No, it's delicious. More than any meal I've ever had." The child babbled again, knocking over a small bowl of porridge. Alex laughed and quickly cleaned up, while Tuna wiped her child's face. In that moment, the three of them blended together, a new family, fragile but full of love. Outside, the sunset bathed the fields in crimson. Inside the warm wooden house, Tuna knew, this time, she had made the right choice by coming back. Alex sat in the car for a long while, his hands gently fiddling with a small velvet box. Each time he opened it, the sparkling stone reflected the light, making his heart pound faster. He took a deep breath, glanced at the rearview mirror, and spoke aloud, as if to himself. "Nah. I can't promise you a life of wealth, but I promise you a peaceful home. Will you be my wife?" As soon as the words left his lips, he felt his own face flush, his heart racing wildly as though it would leap out of his chest. He shook his head, frowning. "No, that sounds too forced. It has to be more sincere." He stood up, walked out into the yard, pacing back and forth as if Tuna were standing before him. Once again, he looked straight into the empty space, his voice trembling. "Nah. I searched everywhere for you, just to say this one thing: let's raise this child together, let's spend the rest of our lives together. Do you believe me?" His voice echoed across the empty yard, carried only by the wind rustling through the leaves. Alex paused, half amused at himself, yet the corners of his lips curved into a shy smile. He tried once more, this time softer, almost like a whisper. "I love you, Nah. Let me take care of you and our child, for the rest of my life." He sighed and sank down onto the wooden steps. Time passed slowly, the afternoon sunlight slanting low, bathing the yard in golden hues. Taking out the new phone he had just bought, he stared at it and muttered to himself, "I'll give her this first, so she can reach me easily. As for the ring, I'll wait until the moment she smiles, then I'll place it in her hand." Alex waited. His eyes fixed on the dusty red road in the distance, hoping to see Tuna's familiar figure appear at the bend. From time to time, he stood up, pacing nervously, then sat back down, like a young man waiting for his very first date. His heart swung endlessly between two opposing tides, the fear of never finding the courage to speak, and the burning desire to hold on to her forever. As the afternoon dragged on, the shadows stretched long across the yard. Still, no one came back. Alex leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, burying his face in his hands, when suddenly, his phone buzzed. His manager's voice burst through the speaker, panicked and urgent. The emergency news struck him like a bucket of cold water. Alex raised his head in shock, his eyes still tinged with longing. The ring box in his pocket suddenly felt unbearably heavy. He turned once more toward the silent gate and whispered into the breeze. "Nah. I couldn't say it this time. But I'll be back. I swear I'll be back." He rose quickly, heading straight for his car, leaving behind the empty yard awash in the golden glow of sunset, where his unspoken proposal still lingered, suspended in the air. That afternoon, Alex was forced to leave in a rush, without even a word of farewell. His car sped down the dusty red road, clouds of dirt rising behind the wheels, yet his heart felt as heavy as stone. The small ring box in his pocket weighed unbearably, each heartbeat tightening his chest. "Once I settle this, I'll come back right away. Next time, I won't let the moment slip by," he promised himself. When Tuna returned to the small house where she and her child had just moved in, night had already fallen. The yard was silent, the wind rustling through the bamboo fence. She noticed fresh tire tracks on the ground, and her heart tightened. A vague premonition struck her. Alex had been here, but for some reason, he couldn't stay. That night, after her child drifted into sleep, Tuna sat quietly on the porch. A slender crescent moon hung above, casting a pale light on her tired face. Emptiness welled up inside her. She remembered the fleeting days at the farm, his clumsy way of tending the fire, the careful way he placed food on her plate, the warmth in his eyes when he looked at the child. Those memories now cut through her heart like hidden currents. The first day passed, then the second. Alex did not return. Each afternoon, Tuna carried her child to the porch, her eyes unconsciously fixed on the dirt road leading into the village. Every time a distant vehicle appeared, her heart skipped, only to sink again when she realized it wasn't him. Her child still babbled playfully, tiny hands reaching for weeds by the porch, his pure laughter softening the ache in her heart. But her longing for Alex only grew, like a silent tide swelling through the day, then crashing restlessly at night. Many times, she wondered, where is he now? Does he still think of us? Or has he, buried under work, forgotten the promise I saw in his eyes that day? In that moment, Tuna realized she was no longer the woman who only knew how to run away. Her heart had quietly leaned toward Alex, like a seed that sprouts after rain. And even in his absence, she still believed that when he returned, he would be there again, arms open wide, just as before. While Tuna sat on the porch of the small house, her eyes fixed on the dusty red road, Alex was elsewhere, caught in the midst of an unprecedented company crisis. The main factory had suffered a machinery breakdown, halting the entire production line. Dozens of workers scrambled in confusion, while managers hurriedly reported delayed contracts. Alex's phone rang endlessly, partners, clients, one after another. Standing in the middle of the workshop, his white shirt stained with oil and dust, sweat pouring down his face, he barked out orders without pause. "Check the entire electrical system. Call in the engineers immediately. We must restart within 24 hours, at all costs." Yet in the chaos, there were moments Alex froze. In his mind flashed the image of Tuna sitting quietly on the porch, her tearful eyes glimmering with a hint of determination. He remembered her holding the child, the sound of innocent laughter echoing like a bell, dispelling his exhaustion. Each night, long after everyone else had collapsed from fatigue, Alex stayed alone in his office. The yellow lamp cast shadows on his gaunt face, papers piled high across the desk. He opened his phone. In his recent contacts, there was only one name, Na. His finger hovered over it countless times, only to retreat. He was afraid that calling now would only burden her with worry. In the pocket of his coat, the small ring box and the new phone he had bought for Tuna remained untouched. From time to time, Alex would take them out, staring with a tight chest and whispering, "Na, are you waiting for me? Just let me survive this storm, and I'll return to you and our child." Outside, the machines roared as repairs went on, the factory lights burning through the endless night. And far away, in a small house bathed in moonlight, Tuna sat cradling her child, her heart tangled with longing. Though miles apart, their two hearts beat in the same rhythm of waiting, waiting for the day they would once again sit side by side, and for the promise left unspoken to finally be fulfilled. Inside the roaring factory, sparks from welding crackled through the air heavy with smoke and oil. Alex stood still for a long moment, dark circles under his eyes from countless sleepless nights. His wrinkled shirt was stained with grime, but what weighed on him wasn't his disheveled state, it was the cold, unforgiving numbers in the financial report. The company was on the brink of bankruptcy. A series of critical contracts had stalled, machinery breakdowns dragged on, investors threatened to pull out. The phone rang endlessly, creditors, banks, the board of directors, each call stretching his mind taut like a wire ready to snap. One misstep, and everything he had built over years could collapse in an instant. By day, Alex darted everywhere, factory floors, partner offices, banks, even City Hall. By night, he buried himself in the boardroom, the table piled high with documents and contracts. Amid the stacks of thick white papers, hidden in a drawer, still lay a small velvet box and the new phone he had yet to give Tuna. Each time he opened it, his chest clenched. Nah, if the company falls, what right do I have to make promises to you? His colleagues saw the urgency in every move he made. One manager even asked softly, "Alex, are you all right? Things look so bad, can we really make it through?" Alex didn't answer immediately. He gripped the files tighter, his bloodshot eyes flashing with both fear and resolve. No matter how hard it gets, we must hold this company. I cannot let it fall. But at night, when everyone else had gone home, Alex finally faced his fear. Alone in the darkened office, the dim yellow light casting shadows across his gaunt face, he picked up his phone. On the screen, the only name in recent contacts was Na. His trembling finger hovered over the call button, but withdrew again. He feared his voice would betray the despair inside him, burdening her with worry. Leaning back in his chair, he exhaled and whispered into the empty air. "Na. I miss you and the baby. Just wait a little longer. I'll come back, I swear I'll come back." Elsewhere, beneath the porch of her small home, Tuna cradled her child in her arms, her eyes unconsciously drifting toward the dark road. Each time a distant engine echoed, her heart clenched in anticipation. Within her, longing slowly turned into yearning, like an ember waiting to flare into flame. Though separated by distance and burdened with worry, their hearts still reached for each other. Alex fought desperately on the edge of his company's survival, but deep down, the only reason he endured, the only reason he refused to break, was so he could return to Tuna, the woman to whom he had yet to speak his promise. Will Alex have the strength to weather the storm and keep his company from collapsing? And more importantly, will the love between him and Tuna, a love that has endured so many trials, finally reach a complete and fulfilling ending? Sparkles all will be revealed in the next video. Stay tuned, don't miss it.
Hello, xin chào tất cả mọi người. Rất vui vì có thể gặp lại mọi người trong video hôm nay trên kênh của mình. Như mọi người cũng đã biết thì kênh của mình sẽ mang đến những câu chuyện về người mẹ đơn thân, với những câu chuyện bám sát với thực tế về đời sống, xã hội cũng như tình cảm con người. Thì mọi người ơi, nếu như mọi người yêu quý kênh của mình cũng như là yêu quý các nhân vật như Lý Tử Na hoặc là Lý Tử Diệp, thì mọi người cũng có thể để lại bình luận để góp ý cho các nhân vật để video này có thể càng hoàn thiện hơn nhé. Và nếu như mọi người yêu quý kênh cũng như là muốn đóng góp ý kiến cho kênh thì cũng có thể để lại bình luận. Và mong rằng mọi người sẽ luôn ủng hộ cho kênh của mình và sẽ đón xem những video tiếp theo mà kênh mình sẽ lên. Mình mong rằng có thể tiếp tục gặp lại mọi người trong những video tiếp theo. Thường thì mỗi ngày mình sẽ lên một video và mong rằng chúng ta có thể gặp lại nhau trong video tiếp theo ở ngày mai nha. Chào tạm biệt mọi người và hẹn gặp lại.